Hello, hope you guys are doing well. I want to take you guys back to the year 2020. The month is August. My mother had not been feeling well and she was in the hospital. And on the 28th of August, the hospital called my dad and my sister to come. And we thought maybe they wanted us to verify or confirm a medication that they wanted to give her. So, like, deep inside of me, I felt like she had passed away. But yeah, I wasn't sure. So my dad and my sister had gone to the hospital and they had left me and my other sister at home. So I went to my room, I lied down, I did a short prayer and I said, God, protect my mother. And I went to sleep. And then, like, before you know it, they're back. They open the door, they wake me up, and I'm seeing all of them, my two sisters and my dad, just standing there. And I don't remember who told me, but somebody said, our mom has passed away. And it's just like, it's shock, it's unbelief. You don't even know how to feel about this. You don't know, is this, it doesn't feel real to you. So it's just like a whole lot of confusion and denial. And speaking about denial, her body had gone missing for some time, and I always, for a long time, I just thought that she was alive. And I thought that maybe one day she was just going to come out of nowhere and say, that was a lie. But I've gone forward in the story. So me and my sisters and my dad, we go into the dining room and we are just standing there and we're looking at each other and just trying to understand what this new life is going to be like. So then my dad had said something, and I said to him, everything is going to be okay. And then he started crying and he said, how is it going to be okay? And that's when I had realized that this is going to be a journey for us to, pick ourselves back up after this news, because she was a pillar in our life. Everything went through her. She shielded us from so much danger and harm, and yeah, she was our strength, she was our backbone. And even like months, I would ask myself, why did she have to pass away? Why did she have to die? And I would even go down a negative way of thinking, just like I would ask God, why do you not take my dad? Why do you take her? Why not my dad? Because at this time of life, me and my dad were not very close. He had provided for me, but he wasn't like active in my life. And just like my mom was the one who took us to school, take care of us, provided us with food, and he did pay the bills and he did try his best. But he was a professor and his work, required him to give a lot of attention to the students and his work and his projects and reports, and we did go to expensive school, so he had to work very hard to just ensure that we could live the life we live. But we didn't really feel that love like we felt from our mother. And it was, I think, around 2021 to 2023 I got to get a better understanding of him, and I got to see what does it mean to be a man, what does it mean to have emotions, because throughout my whole life I'd never seen him emotional. But throughout these past throughout from 2021 to 2023, I saw a man who was so emotional, who was so vulnerable. I saw a man who knew how to think about his children before he thought about himself. I saw a man who knew how to say sorry when he was wrong, who knew how to say thank you when somebody did something for him. And even though he was not a perfect man, he showed me another part of him that if he died first, I was never going to know. I was going to always have one idea of who he was, that this is a man who's strict, who gets no nonsense and doesn't show emotions, and knows he loves, but never really expressing his love, never really showing his love. But it's over these few years that we had, where he was our only parent, that I saw that there was more to him. And I also saw that he was not a very young man, he was a very old man, but I saw somebody who was active. And there would be times when I was sick and he would take care of me and bring me soup or ask how am I doing, or he'd call me from work and say how's work, or he was not a young man to be taking care of me the way he took care of me when I was sick. Or it's just like such a deep concern for us as his children, that I learned that from him. And if he had passed away, then only God could have assisted me to have portrayed those characteristics, because I had never seen them. But I think what I'm so grateful for was, one day I had come back from work and he was having a stroke. And we didn't know that it was a stroke. It's only later we realized it was a stroke. And from that day to, I think, about 2 to 3 months, he slowly died. And it was like one day I had a father who was okay and well, and then next day he was not able to do things on his own. He needed assistance, and some days he would even forget my name, or I'd have to assist him with things. And I would go and see him at the hospital. The first 2 to 3 hours of my day, I would be at work, and the rest of my day, I would be with him at the hospital, keeping him company, being there with him. And it was at that time to which I got to know him, and he got to know me. And there was even one day he said to me, Junior, I didn't know who you are, but now I do. And I got to hear his stories about life, and he got to see my passions and my interests, because he never knew. The only time we had really spent time together was when we were watching soccer. That was the only time we had. And so he got to see my passions and what I was interested in, and he got to see that I like journaling and working out and improving my life. And he would give me tips about how to journal, about how to record information. And it was a very tough time, just because he's Nigerian, so he is a difficult person. And once you mix a difficult person with a sick person, it was a very tough time. But what I'm so grateful for was that we were able to spend time together. The last few months that we had together, so about a month before he had passed away, he asked me, what do you want to do in life? And by this time, I felt more comfortable to tell him this. Maybe 2 or 3 years down the line, I wouldn't feel so comfortable, just because he might have judged me or rebuked me. So I told him that I want to help improve people's lives. And just after I said it, he picked up his hand like this and he says, if I'm your father. And I was scared. I was like, what is he going to say next? And he said, if I'm your father, so it shall be. And I was so emotional, because I was like, I never expected that response. As I said before, my father was a professor, and he had sent me and my sisters to amazing schools. And to tell a typical African parent that you want to do that, it doesn't even it can't even register in their minds. What does that even mean? How is he going to provide for himself? And it was done. And I felt a peace inside of me that I have the approval of my father. I have the approval of my father to do what I know that God has been calling me to do. And then about a week before his birthday, December, his birthday is on the 4th of December, he passed away. And just like when they called us to the hospital, I knew that he was gone. Somebody had called me from work and they said, come to the hospital. And on the way there, I was just preparing myself for the news and preparing for what I'm going to do with my life next. Um, why I'm sharing this to you is because all good works for those who love the Lord. All good in the end works for those who love the Lord. My parents are in heavenly places now. My mother had and my father had suffered with illnesses for many years, and I miss them. But I'm not sad, nor am I angry with God. I know that where they are, they're in a better place. And I know that my parents worked so hard. Like for my mother, she was she was so fast paced with us, with our spirituality actually. She made sure that we prayed, she made sure that we fasted, she made sure that we went for all night services, went for all sorts of services. 3 to 4 times a week she had taken us for services at night. She knew that her time here was limited. So she knew that she had to make sure that we had the foundations of our knowledge of God and our spiritual life with God. And I can say this for a fact. When I'm finished on this earth, because of what the foundation that my parents did for me, I will be with them in heaven. So will my sisters. And the work that they had lived here has reaped rewards in heaven. So I know sometimes life it doesn't make sense. Why is all of these things happening to me? Why is life taking me on this road? As Joshua Sermon says, only ask yourself one question: do you love the Lord? And if your answer is yes, take rest. Everything else will follow. Take rest. Everything else will follow. It doesn't make sense right now what is going on, why my mother had to pass away, why she did this, why other children could play games while we were fasting. It doesn't make sense. But at the end, it will make sense. This video is all over the place. I could go into more detail at a later stage, but it worked well in the end for them and worked well in the end for me, because the reason I'm here actually shooting these videos is because of my father. He had given me he had given me permission to do what God is calling me to do. And the reason why not only am I on social media, but the basis of what I'm talking about is about God, and that's because of my mother. Everything good that you see about me here as I'm talking is because of the work that my mother put through me, the work that my mother put to ensure that I can be this person who loves God and wants to share about God. Love you guys. Peace out.